But I want to ask you, do you really think that the American people understand that Bernanke and Geithner and Summers and all those guys were more than willing to blow up the U.S. budget so to bail out their Wall Street pals, and worse than fix it by screwing the poor, by cutting the tiny income support programs from $5 billion down to $2 billion? Do you think the American people, understand what's going on?
No, I don't think so. I think the American people think that the system works when they get their check in the mail, and if it's disrupted, then they wonder what's happening, and they're starting to wonder what is going on, because we did have a crisis, which was a predictable crisis, and then they saw Wall Street get bailed out. They do see that. They understand that Wall Street and the banks have benefited by the bailouts, and they better understand today that the Federal Reserve is part of that. In the past, the Fed always got credit for the boom times, and they always got credit for getting us out of the bust times, when you had the recessions. But it's not working so well. And so there's a shift in attitude, but the people still aren't quite aware of exactly how this system works.
Yeah, and the other thing that, we all went through the housing bubble, and they created this fake wealth in the housing bubble. They're doing the same thing in the stock market right now, and I don't think the American people understand. We've had this 2-year anniversary of the stock market's going up over 120%, but they don't understand how that's happening. They're keeping these interest rates artificially low, so to keep the stock portfolios of the elitists, the Wall Street pals, from imploding, but also from the Federal Reserve balance sheet imploding. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, sure. And the important consequence of lower market interest rates is that it sends the wrong information. It deceives the investors and the savers, and They continue to make these mistakes and create the bubbles. I think this is part of the reason that the bond prices are so high and interest rates are so low. And this serves some people, but it doesn't help it doesn't help the economy to grow, and doesn't help the people who save, and that's where your capital is supposed to come, is savings, and people suffer from this. So they have it twisted around, and I think price fixing is very bad. And if you fix interest rates, you have unintended and evil consequences. And
when we go back to they had this big celebration of happy birthday for the 2-year rally, and I don't think most people realize that going back to March 9th of 2009, what they simply did was take and change the accounting rules, 2 sets of books. They said, okay, let's go from mark to market to mark to model, and then when they did that, they could move the prices up of their assets wherever they wanted to put it. But then they took the toxic mortgages, moved it over to the Federal Reserve, then from the Federal Reserve moved it over to the Treasury, where you and I got screwed on it, and then all of a sudden they have no losses. And then when they go out and they speculate with this cheap money, just like they did with housing, and they speculate, stock prices are going up, stocks keep going straight up, and everybody looks at the market now and says, wow, look at this economy, look at the stock market. I hear people on Wall Street, on CNBC every day, they look to the stock market and say, look at this economy, and they keep pointing to the stock market like the stock market's got something to do with the economy. And it's just another bubble, but instead of using housing, they're using stocks. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's gimmicks, and they try to make us feel good and say there's wealth being created, but there isn't. But governments notoriously fudge the figures, whether it's the CPI or the gross national product or the so-called wealth factor. They do it all the time. The unemployment figures are deceptive, too. The unemployment problem is very, very serious, and yet it keeps dropping. It's below 9%. They're making great progress. But I wonder why the people don't feel better, and that is because the government deceives us.
Okay, I got to put you in the mood here now. I'm gonna do a little clip. I'm gonna do a little clip here.
Okay, do it quick because I gotta go.
There is a brand new federal financial law enforcement agency out there policing the beat.
The TARP police. TARP police. What do you think about the TARP police?
We have too many police. We have almost 100,000 federal police with guns, and now you're going to have the TARP police after. So, no, I think the IRS is enough, and the SEC. We don't need any more TARP police.
Oh, my God.
All right,
listen,
gotta run.
Thank you so much. We'll get you back.